Welcome everyone to Marvel Hub. This is DK Dynamite, and today we have some new details that strongly support the possibility of Norman Osborn joining the MCU sooner than we thought. So thanks to a report from a small scoop scouting fan blog, GWW, Marvel Studios is apparently passing around a casting breakdown for a character going by the name of the Benefactor, someone they feel should be a Caucasian between 40 and 60 years of age. Now, according to the report, the actor will shoot their scene at some point throughout the end of this year in Atlanta. So this could suggest that it could be none other than the Spider-Man arch nemesis, Norman Osborn. Now, along with this report, if we were to theorize how this would exactly work, they would shoot a scene in a couple of months' time for an upcoming Marvel project, maybe Spider-Man 3, which could be releasing in 2021 if Sony sticks to their schedule of releasing a Spider-Man film along with Disney every 2 years. But if this is true, and if that leak about Norman Osborn appearing in a post-credit scene for Spider-Man Far From Home, if that's true as well, then it honestly means that a stand-in cameo is probably going to be the case for the Far From Home post-credit scene, where you have a stand-in actor who is implied to be Norman Osborn if he is setting up the Sinister Six storyline, but you obviously won't have the casted real version of Norman since he won't be casted until after the release of Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, I think what's really interesting about this is the fact that in Ant-Man and the Wasp, there was a character known as Sonny Burch who was under the employment of a black market arms dealer going by the same name of the Benefactor. So they clearly and intentionally chose not to reveal who the Benefactor was in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and unless they're saving that for a possible Ant-Man 3, then I'm almost positive this is clearly tying into a major plot that'll be unraveled throughout Phase 4, and if anything, it makes sense that Disney and Marvel were slowly planting the seeds for Norman Osborn throughout Spider-Man Homecoming when Avengers Tower was sold to an unknown recipient, and how in Ant-Man and the Wasp they introduced a black market arms dealer who may be doing different business throughout that film than he's probably doing after the events of Avengers Endgame. The snapping really tore a hole in the dimension and definitely changed some characters for the better and some for the worse. So I can't even imagine how Norman Osborn would try to fill in Tony Stark's shoes throughout Phase 4. It's a perfect plot, could easily mess with Spider-Man's head, and can really prove to be a very menacing villain throughout some future phases, with a possible Dark Reign storyline, Dark Avengers, destroying New Asgard, and slowly becoming the Green Goblin after they fleshed out Norman Osborn as a very crooked and wicked businessman, almost the opposite or the polar opposite of Tony Stark, which would be a really interesting plot point going forward. So I'm almost positive they didn't save the Benefactor reveal for an Ant-Man 3, and instead we're planting the seed for something bigger. So along with that, I also wanted to bring up that the fact that the report suggests that they're looking for a Caucasian between 40 and 60 years of age, it doesn't specify whether or not it's a male, but it's kind of implied. And if you look at a recent rumor from Roger Wardell, a leaker who literally has a perfect track record, he specifically said that Marvel definitely likes David Morrissey and they're planning on creating a role for him going forward with the MCU. And if you look at David Morrissey's age, he's actually 54 years old, right in the middle of that 40 to 60 year age they're actually looking for the Benefactor. So could David Morrissey be playing the Benefactor, aka Norman Osborn, in the MCU? I think it would be a pretty nice casting choice if you ask me. He's obviously of age and could fit that menacing businessman that he could turn out to be, and a character they could choose to flesh out as opposed to jumping right into a Green Goblin storyline as previous Spider-Man movies have done. So putting all these puzzle pieces together, you have a Benefactor character mentioned in Ant-Man and the Wasp, you have a Benefactor-like character, or Norman Osborn, being rumored for the post-credits of Spider-Man Far From Home, and you then have David Morrissey being rumored for a role that really does fit the description of what they're looking for in this Benefactor. So this could be for Spider-Man 3, could be for Ant-Man 3, we have no idea what the Benefactor exactly is or when he'll exactly be used in a future Marvel film. But what I will say is that if the leak about that Norman Osborn post-credit scene in Far From Home and setting up Sinister Six, if that is in fact true when we see the film, then without a doubt, I'm putting all my money on the table that this Benefactor is indeed Norman Osborn, and David Morrissey is one of the front runners for the role itself. But if you guys are interested, we have a lot of coverage here on the channel for Marvel's upcoming Avengers game that is expected to release in May of 2020. We have a live reaction to the trailer, a re-upload of some exclusive clips straight from E3, the full press conference from Square Enix about this Avengers Project, and even a video going over the very many Easter eggs that perfectly connect Spider-Man PS4 into the same universe that this Avengers Project will live in. But we took it upon ourselves to also cover some very cool Marvel games that we're not only invested in, but we feel perfectly fit the theme of this channel. And also a big shout out to everybody who turned up to the stream the other day where we had a massive countdown to the Avengers reveal. The original plan was to stream both a big countdown and the full reveal of this Avengers Project, but unfortunately OBS decided to crash literally a minute before the reveal actually began from Square Enix. So the best we could do and the best we can salvage in a limited amount of time was a live reaction and a re-upload of the various clips that were released from Square Enix. But once again, we're very grateful for everyone that turned out and showed some big support for our countdown. Let me know what you think of all this down below in the comment section. This has been DK Dynamite. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn notifications on to stay up to date with the latest and greatest Marvel news and information. And peace out, everyone.